And that is why Van Helsing is arguably one of the best horror movies of all time. Hello?
Review Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
But why? That movie's terrible.
Review it or I get to steal your soul.
How'd you even get this Okay. Okay. I'll do it. Bye.
Halloween, and that time of year for all things spooky and scary. A time of year where people eat candy, dress up in costumes, and watch horror movies. A truly interesting time, an exciting time, a good time for all. However, the same cannot be said about every horror movie, and no other movie better puts this on full display than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But why, you might ask? Well, it mostly has to do with one key weakness: terrible writing. Not to mention a visibly low budget, poor cinematography, and women screaming every 5 minutes. Obviously, not every movie can be the same. Variety is the spice of life, after all. It keeps apathy at bay and gives reason to the existence of pretty much everything. However, standards are essential to success. They prevent chaos from completely engulfing our species and allow things to function smoothly. And Winnie the Pooh here doesn't seem to care. For starters, the masks worn by the actors that play both Pooh and Piglet weren't custom made for the movie, they were store-bought. Literally. They have enough money to make an hour-and-a-half long film, but not enough to just make their own Winnie the Pooh mask? He's a yellow bear. How hard can it be? What's worse, there's low-budget shows, especially during chase sequences or scene changes. Also, the female protagonists can't help but scream every time they see the monster, which makes hiding for them impossible. But we'll get to them later. But above all of these, writing is the worst. And that is what we will discuss today. The movie starts out by telling us the old familiar story of Christopher Robin and the 100-acre wood, with a gruesome twist. Christopher Robin has to leave for college to be a doctor, and the animals have to fend for themselves yet again that winter. But as it turns out, winter has rendered the land barren, meaning there will be no yummy in the tummy for our favorite furry friends. So they decide to eat Eeyore of all people, and become traumatized as a result, like the first time someone misspelled big rocks on a Google search. But worse, because your friend is dead and you killed him, and ate him. After being faced with this ordeal, the animals bury Eeyore, renounce their humanity, and vow to never speak again. And murder all humans, of course. Fast forward 5 years later, and Christopher Robin returns. Pretty sure a PhD requires 8 years, but whatever.
Plot holes? What are those?
And he brought his fiancée Mary with him to show him his friends. After looking around for 5 minutes, they hide from some weird person who they can't see. Later, when it gets dark and night falls, they try to leave, but Piglet, who looks like some knockoff biker dude, strangles Mary with a chain. Christopher runs off and finds Pooh, but soon finds out that abandoning your friends isn't going to make them like you very much, and they drag Christopher away to an unknown fate. A month passes, and 5 women who are friends decide to take a vacation in the 100-acre woods. Women pick the worst vacation spots. Change my mind. They all settle down and talk about their past traumas, right after putting all their phones in a box and deciding not to use them.
Also a terrible idea, but yay!
The film cuts back to a scene where another woman gets lost and tries to call the other members of the group who are inside the cabin to find out where it is.
She then sees Pooh and runs off into the woods, hiding in a woodshed which she found.
However, she gets caught and Pooh decides to throw her into a wood chipper, which is apparently connected to an empty jar with a hose.
What exactly is Pooh gonna do with that blood?
Ah, yes, I get it now.
Pooh then goes back to a shed somewhere and starts eating the aforementioned honey before Christopher Robin starts trying to convince Pooh that what he's doing is bad and he could still turn back. But Pooh gets both sad and angry before destroying his workshop
And whipping Christopher with Eeyore's tail of all things.
before putting his fiance's corpse in the corner and dumping blood on him and running off.
Now I've heard of the Ice Bucket Challenge, but that's just nasty, bro.
After that, a different woman who is with the cabin group is drinking in a hot tub outside while looking at her phone in the woods.
How stupid are you?
She then takes a selfie but sees Pooh in the background.
And goes back to sleeping in the hot tub drunk.
Pooh and Piglet then knock her out and crush her head with a car. The others hear the noise and venture outside to find their dead friend before rushing back inside like paranoid maniacs. They then discover the message Pooh wrote on the windows for them, telling them to leave, shortly before attempting to enter the cabin to kill the women, who separate into pairs and run in different directions. One group goes upstairs and the other attempts to find a way out. The upstairs group finds a revolver and runs into Pooh, who they manage to escape. The downstairs group venture their way into a room with a swimming pool and get ambushed by Piglet, who knocks one of them out and kills the other with a sledgehammer. He then takes the other unconscious woman back to the forest. The other two women still in the house see this and decide to attempt to rescue her. After venturing into the woods, the group stumbles upon the treehouse Pooh and Piglet occupy and discover Christopher and another woman captive. They free the captive woman and learn that her husband was killed by Piglet, who then mauled her. She then ventures outside the treehouse armed with a gun the women found.
Now, why would you give this old cranky woman your only weapon? Why?
She fires the weapon in random directions till Piglet shows up. She then tries to shoot him, but figures out she shot away all of her ammo.
I would say I told you so, but no one wants to hear that.
Pooh also shows up to the party and pushes her to the ground and pours honey on her before Piglet kills her. The other women run off while Pooh chases, but then the woman Piglet kidnapped reappears and ties Piglet up before monologuing and killing Piglet with his own hammer. She really did bring the hammer down on him, didn't she? Guess not. Her victory is short-lived, though, as Pooh, hearing Piglet's screeches, runs back to the treehouse,
And I mean runs.
and impales her to a wooden post with a long kitchen knife, before venturing back into the woods after the last two women. The final two women then escape onto the road in the forest and stumble upon 5 truck drivers who they attempt to convince to help them escape. But apparently Pooh can teleport because he shows up on the main road way behind them, prompting the truck drivers to confront Pooh and straight up beat him for a full minute before Pooh, being surprisingly unscathed, brutally murders the 5 truckers.
Ah yes, plot armor. My favorite.
The 2 women then manage to start the truck and run over Pooh, but Pooh climbs onto the truck, causing them to crash. Pooh then drags one of the women out of the truck and cuts her head off with a knife and tosses it on the windshield. The last woman turns on the windshield wipers, but it blurs the windshield with her friend's remains. Pooh then drags her out, but Christopher Robin appears out of nowhere and slams Pooh into the truck with yet another truck.
How do you get another truck?
He then attempts to help the last woman escape into the woods, but Pooh, in the worst plot twist ever, emerges from the wreck alive and well enough to not only walk, but kill again. Before he can, Christopher Robin attempts to reason with Pooh that he can still be a good person if he just tries. But in another actually decent plot twist, Pooh speaks, and then kills the other woman by stabbing her more times than Jeff the Killer. Meanwhile, Christopher Robin runs off, and the film cuts to black. Now, after hearing the general plot of the movie, you might ask yourself, what exactly so bad about the film? To which I respond, go watch the last 5 minutes of the video, like right now. All jokes aside, the answer lies in the issue of the main character's lack of common sense, which makes the movie feel staged, rather than natural. The most common and worst instance of this, quite frankly, is the women. Not only did they make the most obvious dumb decisions throughout the film, from beginning to end, but every time they scream when they see the monsters, whether or not they're attempting to hide. And I could go through lists of endless examples, but that's not the point. The key issue here is that the writers almost made it to where every survivor here was too incompetent to even do anything right, which is a problem. It either makes it seem like the writers are lazy assholes, or that the actors playing the survivors simply can't act. And I know women in particular can be cringe, but this portrayal of the survivors in the movie just takes that idea to the most unreasonable extreme possible. Whether it was done as an inside joke or was simply a goof, I'll let you decide. But this is also further amplified by the goofy-aw cosmetics the team used for the monsters. Who looks like a drug addict? What has he been doing? Eating honey with a spoon and lighter?
Come on, come on! Go away!
In fact, the only upside on the cosmetics is that Piglet's appearance actually makes sense. Instead of a cute little pink piglet, he's now a hairy boar with long tusks, who's dressed like Francis from Left 4 Dead, and wields a sledgehammer. But that's where the upsides end. But possibly the worst part of this whole ordeal, they're making a sequel.
Why would you do that?
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Please be sure to... Hello?
Hello, Garrett. I want to play a game.
But I did the video. You said I'd get to keep my soul.
Yes, you do. That said, I got one more trick for you.
What would that be?
I put a bomb under your bed. You have 1 minute to disable it. Are you up to the challenge?
But why would you do that?
What's October without a couple few scares? You have 1 minute to disable it. Let the games begin.